So I'm Lawrence Wagner with Spark Mindset. Spark Mindset is a social enterprise looking to end poverty and violence in low socioeconomic communities by creating a diverse and inclusive environment in corporations, high school education, and local communities. One way that we intend to help with high school education is by creating a virtual reality educational gaming platform that teaches cybersecurity, coding, and entrepreneurship to high school students, primarily in the 9th and 10th grade, in low socioeconomic communities. So one of the models that we chose to build this platform is an adaptive learning model. The reason we chose this learning model because it is faster and gives higher quality for students' progression. It adapts to different learning styles that the students have. It allows students to understand the material a lot faster and engages the students. And so one of the big pushes is to have students engaged in learning, being excited to learn. And then the other way is that teachers can actually track the data and now meet the needs of the students because she knows or he knows the needs of the students based on the dashboard that will be provided in this platform. So what this does is it began to create healthy discussions between the teachers and the students, where the teachers can give feedback to the students, and the students can go to the teachers with real good questions. Another model is computative thinking, and so what we're doing is taking a big problem and we're breaking it into smaller groups. So basically, we're using coding for an example. A student doesn't know how to code, but have to build a platform. So we break that into smaller pieces. We put it in an order that will help the students learn, and then students follow the steps to be able to gain the material. But what computational thinking does is it allows us to be proactive instead of reactive. So as the technology changes, as the industry changes, we can create different scenarios to predict those changes or to meet those changes within our platform. So it allows the student to constantly be gaining new information and the latest and greatest in technology. So we decided to go with a mixed reality that Microsoft created. And the reason we chose virtual reality is statistics shows that students learn skills faster in video games because they're fun and interactive. And as students are immersed in the virtual reality, it actually allows them to learn by doing, which is 70% of students learn by actually doing something than someone lecturing them. So basically, by being immersed in virtual reality, the cognitive skills that these students will pick up will help them further along in the process. So we decided to choose 3 tracks. We chose cybersecurity, coding, and entrepreneurship based on some statistics we got from the labor from the Department of Labor Statistics. And what that is cybersecurity will be here. There is 3.5 million predicted unfulfilled jobs in cybersecurity by 2021. There's a prediction of 17% increase in software development jobs in 2020. And there's an increase in entrepreneurship where 40% of the workforce will be independent contractors or solo entrepreneurs. So we want to help tackle these needs by educating our students to fill these needs. So I'm gonna go through, let's say John is our student. He decided to take our program. So John will come in, he'll put on the virtual reality glasses, and he'll tap on one of the subjects that he needs to learn based on where he's at in the program. So some of the cybersecurity classes we'll be doing is data analytics, computer science. And what John would experience is John comes in with no experience in computers or cybersecurity, and he goes through our program for a year, John will be ready to take the cybersecurity Security Plus certification upon completion of the program. So we're trying to get him the entry-level basic skills into cybersecurity as he goes through the program. We're also going to gamify the program. So study shows that through gamification, that students actually are challenged. They learn how to adapt. They learn how to overcome challenges. They learn critical thinking. They also get a sense of achievement. So as they gain levels, their confidence grow. And so as they're gaining this confidence, they tend not to also fall behind their other students because they're competitive. So as they're learning the content, we're changing that behavior to be a behavior of I can instead of having low self-esteem or not thinking they're able to accomplish things, but really increasing that confidence that they have in themselves. So as students level up in the game, they will gain a skill in a subject. So let's take data analytics. So in order for the student to go to the next level and graduate from the data analytics skill, he would actually have to take an assessment. So he would take an assessment, and then that would show that he gains enough skills to go to the next level. As we go further in the game, he actually complete a project, and we'll be able to track the skills that he gained from completing that project. We also want to increase their skills in math and science. So the Common Core skills in math and science, we'll be able to track that at each level as well. Students will earn badges, and they earn badges by helping other students. So we all know that there's going to be some students that's going to have problems within the game. So the student, by helping their fellow students gain badges, they have to gain 3 to 5 badges in order to graduate the program. So what it does is it teaches the student collaboration, teamwork, and problem solving. Not just problem solving for themselves, but actually problem solving from how do I help my fellow employees progress? How do I help my coworkers advance? So they get that collaboration and problem solving skills at that level by earning the badges. So students will be able to track their progress in the game. So there'll be a dashboard that tells them what Common Core skills they're becoming good at, what skills that they're learning in cybersecurity. So Johnny will be able to log in, he'll see I'm doing well in math, I need a little bit more help in science. The teachers and administrators will be able to see that as well. So, and this will be real time. So teachers can go in and immediately know who needs help and who doesn't. Teachers, and so that way the teacher can be proactive and ask the student, hey, have you asked one of your fellow students for help, or how can I help you? So then the students that's part of the game will be placed in a virtual community. So by being in a virtual community, they have a support system while they're going through the program. So this provides them with some encouragement when things get hard. So not everyone who is in an underserved community have a good support system. So that's where this virtual community can come in and really help. It also teaches students how to interact with people from a diverse standpoint. So you may have people who are underserved who are talking to people who are more well off, people from different backgrounds, different races, different genders. So it really creates this collaborative, innovative community that these students are part of. And the only people that can get into this program are students. So students can meet people from across the country, which is great, but the only people that can have access to this is the students and the teachers. And then our team will be tracking to make sure that it's safe, that everything is appropriate, language is appropriate, and the things to make sure that students are in a safe environment. We also will be giving students workforce development skills. So we'll be teaching them financial literacy, we'll be teaching them resume writing, conflict resolution, how to conduct an interview, and really how to interact with their fellow coworkers. So they will be getting that training along while they're going through the program. It's our goal to get them an internship as early as 10th grade. So giving them the skills and the life skills they need to be able to go into a company and actually participate in an internship. Because our ultimate goal is for these students to get hired into companies once they graduate high school. So instead of a teacher-directed focus, this now becomes a learner-directed focus, where teachers are asking students open-ended questions, getting their feedback. Students are sitting with their teachers, telling them what they learned from the program. So now teachers are facilitating the classroom instead of directing learning. So this allows the teacher to focus on the students that specifically needs help. This allows also for the teacher and the student actually to get to know each other, because in this environment, there's a collaboration between the teacher and the student based on what the student's learning and how the teacher can help them. So the teacher is still teaching, and she's still giving input into what's going on, but the technical stuff the students are learning on their own. So it just builds stronger relationships between the teacher and the student, and the teacher feels a little less overwhelmed because also while the students are going through the platform, it's helping them with the federal and state standards that they're being held accountable to. So with that, do you have any questions or feedback?
Yes, actually, yeah. I do like the concept, and now that you explained it a little more, to some extent, it feels like kind of minority with respect to coding, like minority report with respect to, hey, when building this big application, one chunk at a time, and to your point, gamifying and whatnot, write one chunk and then put it there, then another chunk. And so, is that a correct interpretation of what you're trying to do?
Yes. So basically, what will happen is we'll start building out a curriculum. We'll gamify that curriculum with these different levels. And then you're right, as technology advances, as things change, we can make different changes on the spot. But
okay,
it's almost like World of Warcraft, where we're playing, but how World of Warcraft continue to add campaigns onto the program, we can do that as well.
And so are the teachers remote, or is this like for a classroom environment?
So it's a classroom environment. What it will be is it will be an elective in schools. So the teachers will be in the classroom with the students, there to answer questions, there to help them. And then the students will only be in the platform for half of the class, and then they'll be taught by teachers the other half, and by our workforce development. So based on surveys that we've done and interviews we've done with teachers and students, like students actually want teachers to still teach them. So, they still want that interaction with their teachers. They're looking forward to the technology, but they don't want to replace their teacher.
Makes sense. I do like the notion of gamifying it, but several small questions relative to you mentioned. You mentioned to be able to graduate from it, they need like 3 to 5 badges. Can you elaborate more on that?
Right. So the badge system is kind of different. So they have to help us. They have to actually help a student that's having a problem. So if I'm let's say I'm a student, I have difficulty. I'm going to send out a message on a message board saying, I'm having trouble. If there's a bunch of them, then this student may create a video that helps multiple students, or the student may help that individual student. And by helping so many students, you earn a badge, right? Again, so what we're doing is we're promoting, and we are kind of saying, hey, you have to learn how to work with other people. You have to learn how to help people in order to move past this program.
Is the program keeping track of your before and after with respect to, for example, your assessments? You know, when you come in, as you were talking, the person doesn't know how to read, but by the end of the program, the person knows how to read, and this is all qualified by the program itself and not anyone.
Yes, there will be pre-assessments and then post-assessment, but then there's assessments throughout the game. So you'll be able to track they will have one before they go in, and you'll track all the way as they're going through.
So when I first start, do I have to pick an elective such as coding or whatnot, or can I just go in and then the program, it's through the assessments, the program will
So through your pre-assessment, pre-assessment, we'll have an idea on which one you'll want to do, right? And we want the students to pick a track. So I want students to have an idea of what they kind of want to do. Not saying that they have to stay in that track, but to have an idea of this is what I want to do starting out.
Okay, and are there any deviations for them? So such as they're halfway through coding and they're like, yeah, I don't enjoy this. Would that skew any results? Let's say they want to jump into another track?
Correct. So we actually realized that not all students are going to finish the program. And it's not going to be because they're not capable. It's going to be because of a choice, right? But we want them to come away with some of the critical thinking, some of the workforce development, some of those skills as they're a part of the program. And so we know that even if they decide coding is not for them or cybersecurity is not for them, and they want to be an artist, they still come away with some of those skills that they learned through our program.
Can you talk to me about entrepreneurship? I can understand cybersecurity and coding with respect to VR, but how do you teach that through VR?
Through entrepreneurship, there's basic skills that you have to do. So basically how you would go through an accelerator, and the accelerator will teach you certain skills, and at each level that you have to do things, they actually do those things, right? So they're actually presenting my revenue model. They're actually presenting, they're actually doing or working with a team that does graphic design. So they're actually performing. So they may be the CEO or they may be the CMO, but they're participating in the ecosystem of being an entrepreneur and working on a team as an entrepreneur and going through the steps that they would like an accelerator.
Would this program be restricted to only classroom environment, or can a student learn more by purchasing a headset if they're able to, or go into the library or whatnot, so that they do it offline? Is that possible?
So yes, because it's going to be on a platform that will be possible. Again, this is self-paced, so the student can log in, and if they want to keep learning and keep going. Inside the classroom, we want to make it half and half, and the reason we're doing that is because they still need to have human interaction to be a good employee.
That makes sense. So I don't think I have any more questions relative to that, and it sounds good actually. I do like it. I do like the self-paced that you mentioned, the ability to bring this in, because it expands, especially to your point, a lot of the lower end students who just don't have the ability to buy laptops or whatnot. It gives them that ability to now use this technology. And I think what's crucial about what you're trying to do is that being able to visualize it is the best thing, because I know I learn visually, and so I like to watch how it's made, and oh, that's how they make it. But if you draw stuff out and write words on the paper, it doesn't mean anything. I really have to sit there and dream it out. I mean, even when we read books and so on and so forth. So being able to visualize all this stuff, which is what sounds like you're trying to do, is a key selling point. So kind of awesome.
Thank you. Yeah. So yeah, I think we there's a lot of kids who don't even know, or who are afraid to try or like those things, and I think this environment would be less threatening for them to be able to learn and see if they really like it. I mean, I think why we keep looking at stats that says kids are in like at a minority level and they don't do STEM courses is because they're not introduced to STEM courses in a way that
Yep.
that would engage them, and they don't feel threatened or feel less than.
And I think the other thing about your platform, or the direction that you're going with as well, is the notion of gamification. Like, I'm a fan of gamifying things because of the fact that we all love to play games, but whether video games or whatnot. And the sad part is that most video games are either shooters or racing or sports, something like that, where it truly doesn't show you how 2 + 2 can equal 4. And so you providing this platform, this world where now a student can just directly apply the things that he's learning, and gamifying it in that sense, he'll, to your point, he'll be inadvertently learning the things that are crucial in life, without, wasting time. I mean, one of the, I play games all the time, and one of the funny things is that these false sense of accomplishments. Yes, I beat the game, woo, but in reality, I didn't gain anything whatsoever.
Right.
I killed the monster. I'm level 70 in some imaginary world, but when I come back to the real world, I learned nothing. And so being able to now start to develop games or have an environment where all the games that you are playing are teaching you something. As an example, the notion of, you have to beat this boss by creating this formula, and then knowing what the atoms and the compositions of those are, and then you quickly make the formula, and then you throw it at him and you win. Now you know how to make water, as an example. And so something like that, to actually visualize it, especially to kind of grab it with your hand. I don't know. It sounds really exciting and interesting, actually.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for your feedback, Jose.
No problem, sir.
Taking the time to conduct this interview. Greatly appreciate it.
No problem. And thank you so much for the opportunity.
All right.
I'll speak to you later.
Okay. Bye-bye.